This is 5 on your side at 4. Focused on you.
We begin at 4 with developing news out of St. Charles County. A tragic house fire left 2 children dead in Defiance this morning. Right now, the community is grieving and rallying around the family. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Kay Quinn.
And I'm Brent Solomon. That fire happened this morning at a home along Highway 94 South. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer has been there all day long. She's live for us with the very latest. Diamond.
Well, Brent and Kay, St. Charles fire officials say the cause of this fire is still under investigation. However, they have called in the state fire marshal to help investigate the cause of this fire. Now, we know the fire happened this morning in the 2900 block of Highway 94 South. Video from a St. Charles County council member shows just how intense those flames were. The St. Charles County Police Department was the first agency to respond after getting a call around 7:45 a.m. that 2 children were likely trapped inside of the home. Later, multiple fire departments responded to the scene and went in through a window trying to find the children. But the flames were too intense, and eventually they made a heartbreaking discovery.
They made entry into the home and attempted to find the victims that were reported to be inside. At some point, they did find the victims, removed them from the home, and they were so unfortunately we have 2 fatalities here this morning.
Now, there were also 2 adults inside of the home, and one has injuries. The other does not. Those injuries are minor, though. Already here in the community, many neighbors are rallying around this family, creating a donation campaign. We will have that information on our website, ksdk.com. Reporting live here in Defiance, Diamond Palmer, 5 on your side.
All right, thank you, Diamond. Firefighters were on the scene of another deadly fire on North Broadway. A man is dead. Fire Captain Garen Mosby says the fire appears to have been accidental. He thinks the victim may have been cooking when the fire happened. Bomb and arson unit is investigating on a procedural basis. Fire crews say they didn't find any working smoke detectors. Tracy Hinson will have more on 5 on your side at 5 and 6.
Another devastating fire to tell you about, this one in the Metro East. An antique shop called Revival Circa went up in flames in Granite City last night. Fire crews say it is a total loss. There are only 3 walls still standing. Leaders say that shop is a staple in the community. Well, we are in weather alert again today. More snow moving into our area. That was overnight. In fact, we have some images coming in. Many of you are sharing photos with us. We didn't see a huge amount of snow accumulation, but it is cold again. Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell here with how long the cold temps are with us.
Yes, those cold temperatures are lasting through the weekend, and unfortunately, they last into Monday morning. Tell you why that's important in just a second. But first of all, it's cold around St. Louis. At least we have seen the sunshine, as you saw from those pictures, and roads are in pretty good shape this evening after our dusting to around an inch of snowfall from the overnight hours. It's 13 in Lake St. Louis, 16 in Edwardsville, 14 right now in Forest Park, and Muscuda at 17 degrees. So all across the bi-state area, temperatures are quite cold at this point. There's another little disturbance trying to rotate around the backside of the system, may bring some clouds north and east of St. Louis, but here's the story. It's your wind chills tonight. We still have that gusty northwest breeze. Feels like 2 degrees below zero in St. Louis. Wind chills overnight will likely drop into that, say, 10 to perhaps 20 degree below zero range. So the wind chill advisory through noon Saturday. You can see in Hillsborough, Missouri, just a little dusting of snow there on the ground at Jefferson College from our camera there. Nothing on the radar right now. Our concern after the wind chills, temperatures may not be above freezing Monday morning when some rain starts to move in, and that means icy problems could develop. More on that, Kay, in a few minutes.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Scott. As these freezing temperatures tighten their grip on the area, staying warm is crucial to prevent illness. Doctors are warning about frostbite with the wind chill. Covering exposed skin is important right now, but health officials say it's actually best to be outside as little as possible in this weather to prevent frostbite and hypothermia. BJC physician Dr. Mark Levine shares some of his warning signs.
If you're starting to have difficulty thinking or being a little confused, that's definitely an emergency. If your fingers and toes are starting to get very cold and numb and tingling, get out of the cold as quickly as possible.
Warning signs include frostbite and hypothermia, red and painful skin, also skin that feels unusually firm, waxy, or numb. Stay up to date on the severe weather this weekend. Get your Weather First weather forecast sent straight to your phone. Text the word weather to 314-425-5355. We'll send you a link.
Top St. Louis budget negotiators bracing for big hit to the city's balance sheet. 1 year ago today, a circuit court judge ruled the city would have to refund remote workers who don't live in the city for the 1% earnings tax. Now, that could cost the city $50 million every year. Board of Aldermen President Megan Green says a hold that big could impact public safety.
The largest line item in the city's budget is the police department. And so it is very likely that there would have to be massive cuts to public safety and the police department in general should a third of our budget suddenly go away.
While the courts consider a final ruling on the refund, Missouri Republicans filed their own proposals in Jeff City. Those would end the earnings tax for people who live outside of city limits and commute to work, or those who work remotely for a company that's in St. Louis.
Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is being summoned to testify before Congress. It comes in the wake of his failure to immediately notify the White House about his recent hospitalization. House Armed Services Committee Chairman Mike Rogers sent a letter to the secretary requesting his presence at a February 14th hearing. Austin has said he takes, quote, full responsibility for the decision about disclosure.
Well, we're just days away from the New Hampshire primary, and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is campaigning across that state. Former President Trump is still very much the front runner, with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis behind him. Despite this, Trump still is hitting Haley hard, questioning her conservative credentials.
A vote for Nikki Haley this Tuesday is a vote for Joe Biden and a Democrat Congress this November.
How am I not conservative? I was a Tea Party governor. I passed voter ID. I passed the toughest illegal immigration law in the country.
Now, Haley does need a strong finish in New Hampshire to keep her campaign moving forward. As for Democrats, President Biden will not be campaigning in New Hampshire. He is not on the ballot there.
This week on The Record, we take a closer look at the Iowa caucuses as the primaries ramp up. Governor J.B. Pritzker claims Trump's victory in Iowa was not that big of a victory. He cites the low numbers of people who participated in Monday's caucus. Mark Maxwell sits down with political analyst Anita Mannion to talk about that lower turnout.
I think overall we're seeing a lack of enthusiasm for a Biden-Trump rematch. And I think perhaps a lot of folks with the cold weather and thinking Trump largely has us on lockdown. If you've been looking at the polls, maybe it wasn't worth coming out whether you supported him or one of the other candidates.
Also on this week's episode, catch Mark's full interview with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Tune in Sunday night after Sports Plus.
Well, he said goodbye to the Cardinals back in 2021. The popular player back on the roster for the 2024 season.
Proposed Metrolink expansion is getting a lot more expensive. How much the new route could cost?
5 on Your Side newscast is brought to you by Together.